Hello everyone and welcome back to Mystic Tides Tarot. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and I feel like I could probably start every single one of my videos saying that because I've been just trying to change the way that I do things in every video and see what fits right. Anyways, let's get down to business. We're going to be doing a pick a card. I'm going to be shuffling from this oracle deck. This is the Alice the Wonderland Oracle, for those of you interested. And we're just going to go ahead and see what comes up. We're only going to be pulling 3 cards. And then each card will have the timestamp for its corresponding pile down below, which is what I've been doing. But let's see what we have. Oh, what we have here. These bigger cards are much harder to shuffle, for sure. Okay, this one. I'm feeling the bottom one also. And, oh. Not that one, but this one that kind of hid. Okay, and this guy is just dancing because I accidentally hit it. These cards are larger than what I'm used to. Okay. So these are going to be the corresponding oracle cards for each pile. First one we have is Wake Up, It's Your Moment. Then we have Use Your Time Well, Make Every Moment Count. And Who in the World Are You? Getting to Know the New You. Go ahead and take your time, pause the video if needed, and like I said before, the timestamps will be down below for each corresponding pile, and I'll see you for your reading. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading. We're going to be using the Allcento Tarot to read for you. You chose pile 1. The one that says, Wake Up, It's Your Moment. So for this pile, I'm getting that this is someone that maybe has been a little hesitant about what they've been needing to do. And they have an idea what that is, but at the same time, they have all these doubts that that's even the right thing. And that's completely normal. So let me just tell you that right off the bat. Like, it's normal to have all these thoughts and these doubts. It doesn't mean that it's not for you just because you're doubting it, okay? So let's see what the cards have to say in regards to this. The Hanged Man. Oh, that one hurts a little bit right now for me personally. We have the Hanged Man, the 8 of Discs, the 6 of Discs, and the Page of Swords. Yeah. So like I said, this is someone who's been contemplating doing something and they're having all these doubts, which is completely normal during any type of changing of work phase or work comma phase, by the way, not work phase. But if you're thinking about a career switch up or something in regards to money, I'm saying money and career because we do have 2 Pentacle cards that also showed up along with 2 Major Arcanas. The Page of Swords is also kind of hinting me that this has to do with you having to communicate these needs either to your workplace and or people in your life in regards to this decision. The Hanged Man is also showing me that this isn't something that you can speed through. It's not something that is going to happen fast for you, and that's probably what also might make you not want to jump into it because it's already causing you maybe a bit of stress, a little bit of pain mentally. So to think that once you decide that you're going to take this route that it's still not going to be something that's going to breed results very fast is intimidating, to say the least. With the 8 of Discs, we show someone who is working hard at building a skill, and they're actually a lot closer to reaching that requirement and aptitude than they might think they are. So sometimes we are like, okay, I'm new to this field. Like, what do I have to offer? How am I supposed to show up and provide value if I'm new here? And this is kind of like saying you are someone that might be new here, but you're not new to what you need to know in order to succeed there. So you're not a rook. You're not a rookie. We have the 6 of Discs. This is just that reminder that we need to balance things out, and this can be internally as well as externally, but also in relation to the external and the internal. Like, for example, if you tend to be someone who thinks a lot and doesn't act as much as they think, it's like that call to balance of, okay, you need to balance all of these thoughts with some type of action, or else you're going to feel like you're getting clogged up, or that you're going to start maybe even having, or you have had in the past, symptoms of anxiety. I'm not wishing that on anybody. I am a little too familiar with what that feels like, and it feels completely horrible. And when you first encounter it, if you never had in the past, it does feel like you might die. So it's not fun. And this is kind of like that reminder of check yourself before you wreck yourself. Not a warning, not a threat, but a friendly reminder that we want to pour as much love into ourselves as we do into the things that are a little bit more external, a little bit more mundane, or that are maybe even more driven by the ego and the satisfaction that comes from succeeding at things that others can actually witness. Because not many are going to be able to witness the beautiful things that you gift yourself, internally. But there will be people that benefit from that, even if it's not pointed at. And you're the one that has to point that out, by the way. Like when you're thinking about like, oh, well, what's the point of giving this time to myself, or like letting myself create this art piece if nobody's going to be able to point at it and say that's wonderful. And the thing is that you're supposed to be that somebody that does that. You're supposed to be able to give yourself the gift of pointing at that thing that you gave yourself, whether it's out like a piece of art, or internally, like maybe spending more time out in nature. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pat yourself on the back, give yourself that, what is the word that I'm looking for here? You got to give yourself the credit, and you got to give yourself the gold star. You got to give yourself the A+, just as much as you're really quick to be the one that tears yourself apart and that criticizes yourself. Because we are our own biggest critic, why can't we also be not just our biggest cheerleader, but the one who uses the critical eye to then go back and assess and give a good assessment? Why are we only using assessment when it comes to negative things? That's not very smart, is it? But we pride ourselves on being smart enough to point out our flaws. Make it make fucking sense here. Come on, people. Oh, okay. Then we have the Magician. The Magician is just that confirmation telling us we already have everything that we need. So we need to stop looking for things that we think we're missing, because we're not. We're not missing anything. They're already here. We just need to learn how to harness them. And the only way we do that is with practice and with starting it, right? Because the page is also kind of like, I always use this reference, but I'm going to keep using it because it's worked well for me. The page in the court cards, right? Like there's the page, there's the knight, there's the queen and the king. The page is the one that is the freshman out of like, going to college, or maybe in some high schools, right? Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. The page is a freshman, which comes with its pros and its cons, of course, but it's kind of like telling us like, yes, you're the magician, you have all the tools. Now, come on, let's be the freshman. And being the freshman doesn't mean that you don't know shit. Okay. Like I said, you've been working on these skills, and you wouldn't even dare. First of all, you don't even take interest in things and then not take some type of like studious, lens or action towards that thing. Okay, because you are in your head a lot. You are a mental person. Not that you're mental, but you know what I mean? You're someone who is going to go and research as much as you can because something piqued your interest. You do follow that thread of curiosity. But then somewhere along that line, just like with age, right? When we think about like when we're born to becoming an adult, somewhere along that line, we lose that joy, and we start slowly replacing it with criticism, with doubt, with imposter syndrome, and all of those little nitpicky things that, when used in the right way, can elevate us to become extremely skillful and bring that to the world as a gift. But if we let it overconsume us, if we don't let ourselves actually enjoy the process, even though sometimes it can be painful, it can just become something that brings us down and we get stuck. Right? So the wake up, it's your moment. Basically, as unready as you may feel, you just need to go and start gaining that experience, because that experience is going to tell you where you truly need to focus your efforts on, because that may be an area of weakness for you, versus where are your strengths, because you've been building them silently, and where you may need to take a break so that you can lend that time to where you actually need to grow. Okay? Because that's the assessment. That's the test. And I think that's all I have for you, pile number one. Thank you for being here and for listening to my message, to the message that I am channeling here for you. I hope that you enjoyed this reading, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. Hello, pile two. You have picked the Use Your Time Well card. Make every moment count. Now, I'm not really quite sure why you picked this card, so let's go ahead and get a few cards out to tell us. Maybe you feel like you've been stuck somewhere for a little too long, or maybe you feel that something has been taking too long of a time and you're afraid that you've been wasting your time. I'm getting 6 for this pile. Okay, actually 7. Wow. Okay, let's see what these cards are. Oh god, they're doing this with nails. Probably not the best idea. Okay, anyways, we have the 8 of Swords. We have the 9 of Discs. We have the 8 of Wands. The 4 of Discs. Let's put this guy right here. We have the 3 of Discs. We have the Chevalier. Or is it Cavalier? It'll probably sound like I shouldn't even be using this deck because I don't even know how to read that, but here we are. And then we have the Ace of Swords. Okay, barely made this fit in here. Okay, so this tells me that we're dealing with something in the work sphere. The 8 of Swords, there's something that you're not really seeing clearly on, and maybe this is why you're here in the first place and why I said those things that I said in the beginning. The 9 of Discs tells me that you're someone who, okay, this probably sounds so stupid, but I'm getting you're someone who likes to live comfortably, and I think that sounds stupid because don't we all like to live comfortably? Maybe there's some people that that's not true for, but I feel like generally speaking, that's kind of like, yeah, everybody wants to be comfortable, so it feels dumb to say that, but maybe that's something new for you, or that touched something that you needed to hear. I'm not quite sure, but 9 of Discs, you want to live comfortably, and maybe you've been trying to live comfortably without knowing that that's what you were seeking, and maybe that's why you needed to hear that. Then we have the 8 of Wands. This is like things are moving fast. Maybe they're moving a little too fast, and that's what's giving you a little bit of a blind spot here. And then we have 4 of Discs, 3 of Discs. This is moving down. Like we got the 9, the 4, the 3. So it's kind of like we're going back to something that's new for you. We're going back to something that isn't new for you actually, but going back to something that you are now going to be seeing in a new way. Once again, we need to take that blindfold off so you can see it the way you're supposed to. The 4 of Discs is like that wanting to be secure, that wanting to have everything in the list in order to go on the road trip, or else it's going to not be a success. It's kind of like that mentality. And then we have the 3 of Discs, which is this collaborative effort to be able to bring something to fruition. So maybe in order for you to live comfortably, you need to be able to work with others, and perhaps you haven't been doing that because it doesn't feel very safe to do so. Because if you're the one that's in control and you're the only one in the equation, then these other factors aren't going to also possibly be limiting factors, which a lot of the times we think, well, if I'm in control of everything, then everything can have a higher chance to go as perfect as possible, which perfect doesn't even exist, but as close to perfect as possible, right? And this, even in this specific picture, you have this person keeping these coins in a chest, and it has a lock, and he has the key, and then him and the chest are within another place, which is more like a cell, a prison cell. So it's kind of like saying you're keeping yourself in a prison. And right here, it's like, once again, you're in some type of a prison. And this doesn't mean that you can't get out. You know, like you're tied, but there's swords all around you. You could cut the ropes. And then once the ropes are cut, you could take off the blindfold. So it's not like it's a permanent situation, but it is a type of self-imprisonment that you're in here. And this is kind of coming up at the same time that we see this, like, but you want to live in comfort. And it's kind of like telling us, well, you can't do this unless you bring other people into the equation, stop clutching onto things so tightly, and kind of free yourself from maybe a lot of your self-imposed limitations, because the swords also have to do with the mind, intellect, and the thoughts. So many times we're suffering because of the thoughts that we're thinking, not so much things that are actually happening in the real world. It's more of like what we're deducing based off of what we tend to go down when it comes to like the rabbit holes we go down to, right? Like Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole. But yeah, then we have, this is the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups is someone who is a romantic. And this specific deck, it's kind of like this maiden is waiting to be rescued by this sensitive person. So I get this inkling that you are a very sensitive person yourself. So you only want to work with people that are going to understand that about you and that are going to be able to communicate with you in a way that's soft and that is not aggressive, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to open up your heart to have the people work with you, so that you can feel safe enough to stop grasping and gripping onto these things so tightly, so that you can free yourself. And this doesn't mean like, oh, get over it. Like, don't talk. You need to just stop being so soft. You need to not find these people and just take what you can get. Like, no, this is actually telling you, yes, you are a softer person and you should be picky with who you allow to work and collaborate with you. And these should be people that understand your heart and the way that you work, because that's the only way it's going to work. Because how are you supposed to work with other people when your heart is closed because you're feeling overprotective? It's not going to work that way. So these people, use those boundaries in your favor. Use the boundaries that you have around your heart to help you discern who's supposed to be part of that group. Because that's what's going to make this success. Okay, that's what's going to make it so that this comfort is possible. Because you're a person who likes comfort. And this isn't just talking about like physical, like, what I'm trying to say is like riches, right? It's not just like having the resources physically, but also having your resources and your needs met emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually even. And then with the Ace of Swords here, it tells me that if you can really get a grasp on those boundaries so that you can select the few that can make it into a positive collaborative effort, then there's this all new beginning. And the new beginning has to do with the swords, because right here at the start of your reading, you're in a self-imposed prison. And right here, it's kind of like saying, okay, once we're able to bust through all of these things, then we can actually start fresh with your mind and have this like renewal of the psyche, maybe even, because, you know, once we allow ourselves to go places that we haven't been because we're letting go of these shackles that have kept us in a seemingly safe place, then we're able to see the world in a whole different way, which allows us to find opportunity and love and friendship and, you know, even spiritual fulfillment in ways we never even thought possible in places we've already been. So pile 2, you know, using your time well, making every moment count is really tied into this, because you will be able to save yourself so much time, so much grief by taking yourself out of this. And how do you do that? You need to find the right people. How do you know they're the right people? Your boundaries, and do they meet the requirements that we talked about here with the Knight of Cups? And that's all I have for you, pile 2. I hope that this reading served you well in any shape or form, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Hello, pile number 3. So you picked this card. Who in the world are you? Getting to know the new you. So this tells me that you either recently or are in the middle of some kind of an identity shift, and this could have been, you know, self-imposed or not. So depending on where you're at, this reading might give you either a deeper understanding. Oh, this one's already coming out. This reading might give you a deeper understanding. Whoa, okay. Okay, see, when this happens, this is telling me that the energy is high. Okay, these are already out. I'm feeling the need to keep these out too. And maybe one more card. Yeah, so this is kind of telling me that you've been feeling a little... Okay, 2 more want to come out. Wow, 3. Discombobulated. You're not comfortable here. And the reason that you picked this pile is because you really do want to know who you are. Who you are amongst all of this energy. This maybe even feels like chaos. Yup, I literally said it. I literally said it and we got the Tower card. Yeah, this is a heavy time for you. So, my sympathies. Okay, come on. Here we go. Okay, I need to make room for these because... Let me see if I could maybe squeeze this baby out here. Yeah, okay. Okay, you are the pile with the most cards. Wow. And there is a lot going on here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana cards. So, yeah, obviously when we're questioning our identity or when we're thinking about our place in the world, this is not something that's usually very light or to be taken lightly. And this kind of shows with all of the major arcana that we have. And then, of course, one of the most jarring major arcana cards is the Thunderbolt, the Tower card, because this is when our foundation doesn't feel steady. It feels like what we have known is crumbling to the ground. And when we're changing identities or questioning our identity, it definitely feels like that, because what is your identity but the way that you choose friendships, the way that you decide what career you're going to go on, the way that you decide what partnerships are going to be for you, the way that you decide how you move in the world. And this is not something that comes and goes. You carry it with you every single day. This is your personality. This is what gives you sometimes even purpose in life. So this is not small potatoes here, you know? So we start off here with the Justice card. The Justice card is that finding of balance. So maybe you found yourself questioning your identity either by accident or on purpose because there is an imbalance. An imbalance could be a plethora of different things, but it could be that you just felt like something was off, something was wrong, or it could be very specific, like, okay, you know, I've been at this job for a while, I've been at this career for a while, I've been working on this degree for a while, and it just feels wrong. It feels like I'm pulling teeth every fucking day, and I'm not sure why I'm still here, but I also can't fathom quitting, so what the hell do I do? And you start feeling that foundation start to crumble a little bit, and it's so fucking scary that, you know, you start feeling like maybe a little depressy, stressy, you know, maybe you start having these feelings of extreme sadness, and you don't know what that's like because this is the first time in your life that you felt it, which makes it that much more deeper. Or maybe you've been feeling these bouts of sadness come and go for a while now, and you weren't sure what it was, and now you're questioning your identity, and it's making it that much more scary because you're already sad, you're already upset, you're already having these moments of grief, and then to go from there to now, like, who the fuck am I even now, is just, it's so much, this card. Oh my gosh, I feel for you. I know what that's like too. But we have the Ace of Swords and the Four of Discs and the Star. And I want to focus on these because they all came out together, and also because this is hope right here, okay? So Ace of Swords, this is something brand new. This is something maybe you started studying or you started researching about what type of identity you should take on. Because sometimes we don't even have the words to describe what we're going through. So we try to find research. We try to find witness. We try to find maybe even YouTube videos where people talk about how they were questioning their identity so that it could give your feelings, you know, words. And a lot of the times just finding somebody that could describe what you're going through, even if it is on a smaller scale, it gives such a relief because it gives you that sense that you're not alone. And trust me, you are not alone. We at least everybody that I know of has gone through these times. So you are not alone. You are not the only one that goes through this. Almost everybody, I'm willing to bet, in the world goes through this at one time or another. So do not feel that you are alone in this. You are completely not alone. You always will be able to reach out also. I'm just getting this download. I don't know why, but you will always be able to reach out to your spiritual team as well. So you're not even alone when it comes to, you know, being in an isolated space and feeling completely alone. You are never completely alone. There was always somebody watching your back, and you need to know that, and you need to claim that, because that is for you. Okay. But yes, this is something new for you. It's something fresh. And when it's something new, it can be very daunting and scary, but it also gives us this huge opportunity to do things in a different way. And you may have come from a place or you know, like a family or a way of being where you needed to make sure that things were secure. So you made choices based on needing that security instead of based on asking the questions of, well, what do I actually want? And maybe that's why you're wondering who you are, because you were following orders, basically. I say orders like this. You're following orders because society told you. And society could be your parents. It could be your family. It could be your friends. It could be your teachers. It could be just society in general. It could be social media. You know, depending on where you're at, on what side of social media, it could be a pretty scary place. And if you're somebody who is unsure of who you are, they're going to be real quick to tell you who you are. And if you're not willing to question them telling you who you are, you will slowly start becoming somebody that you're really not, just based on other people's words being thrown at you. Okay? So don't be afraid to question things. It's beautiful to question things, and questioning things is how you find out who the fuck you actually are. You know, and here with the star card, this is the star. This is the card of hope. Okay? This is the card that tells you, yeah, shit may not always be looking gorgeous and beautiful, but there is hope that amongst all of this chaos, we will find beauty again. And that beauty can look like for you in like little tiny moments here and there of you finding out who you are, what your likes are, what your dislikes are, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not, what your purpose in life is. Do you need to have a purpose in life in order to be happy? Because, you know, a lot of us like really stretch and reach for trying to find what our purpose is. And that's beautiful. Do not get me wrong. I have done that myself. But do you need to know what your purpose is every second of every day in order to be happy? No. No, you do not. There's actually no conditions that are required by every single person that would ever match in order to find happiness, like 100% match. You know, everybody's going to have their different requirements, and that's why it's important to know who the fuck you are, because that's how you find what those requirements are in the first place. Okay? Now, moving on to the last three cards. We have Fortitude, Seven of Discs, and Fame. Fame is judgment. Fortitude is strength. The strength card. So, yeah, no shit. Of course we're going to need this. And this is mental fortitude, okay? We need this because we also need this to face the parts of ourselves that we find out we're not really fans of when we're discovering who we really are. Because we are supposed to embrace our shadowy parts as well. We're not here to discard any part of ourselves. We're here to learn how to work with it, integrate it, how to love it. Because sometimes parts of ourselves look like this. And who we are consciously needs to be able to wrap it and surround it with these beautiful flowers and with love and acceptance. That's what this card's about. The Seven of Discs shows that this is going to require some fucking work. This is not something that comes easy. This is not something that happens by you just chilling on, sitting on it and, you know, going through moments of sadness and then hoping and wondering if it's ever going to go away. No, this requires attention and effort, dedication. This is something that requires dedication. And then at the end of all of this, we have the Judgment card. And I thought that was such an appropriate, beautiful way to end this reading for you, Pile 3, because Judgment is the end. It's when your ships come to shore after the long adventure. After all of this is an adventure. After this long adventure, your ships come to shore. And we're able to finally rest and receive that download, that wisdom, that massive awakening that we were hoping to get in the middle of doing the work. That comes at the end of the work. Okay. So I hope that this resonated with you, or that this gave you something that can help you on your journey, on discovering the new you, on finding out who you are. And I wish you the best of luck, pile 3. Thank you for being here with me in this reading, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.